Welcome everybody to the first episode back of Back Talk with Bauer. I am Josh JBauerart, Back Talk with Bauer, all the damn names. There's too many to keep track of anymore. But yeah, this is episode 4 of Back Talk with Bauer. It's a special Saturday edition and a crossover edition. My guest is also becoming a podcaster, and so we're going to be doing an hour of my show and an hour of his show. The best part is you can find everything right on this stream. And then if you don't catch some of it or see half of it or miss something, both of us are going to have the podcasts up later. Mine will be on YouTube. He's got his podcast everywhere. We'll talk about that more. But this is actually a old friend of mine, a blast from my past. I have known him since I think the early 2000s, probably 2000 at least. It is my buddy, longtime friend, Michael O'Grady. 3, 2, 1. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. How are things?
Oh, they're good, man. They're good. Just keeping it moving along.
Oh, yeah. So
thanks for having me on.
Of course. Thanks for coming on and doing this big crossover thing. I know it's a learning experience with the Be Live and everything, and we had some fun technical issues before we started, and we were playing the Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. It definitely was. Bit of but that's we had to test for like a half hour building up to this. That's why
but that's why we start early. That's why we get things going. So we're all ready to go. And it's Jesse just said, "Holy shit, that's O'Grady." It is.
What's up, Jesse?
We've got tons to talk about. O'Grady and I have known each other since about middle school, high school. We were inseparable for a good few years. We lost touch a little after high school, kind of found each other again, and I've been keeping up with everything that he's been up to over the years. He is now, we're both originally from Ohio, but you are now in LA, correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Yes.
Los Angeles, California.
He's one of those fancy LA people, and I went to Gatorland.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But either way, we got the holy hell out of Ohio, so I think we're all good. Yeah. As long as we're not there.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots to talk about, and we only got an hour to talk. So I want to say let's get into us meeting, and then we'll get into a little bit more about you. So I was kind of doing the math. I think we met when I was in 6th grade, give or take.
Yeah.
Maybe 6th or no, it might have been 7th or 8th because I got into. I think I came to Howland in 7th grade, and then we moved to your street. I think when I was in 8th grade. So you were a grade behind me, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
You moved down the block, and I can't remember the timeline that well either. I just know that you were there, and that's kind of how, when you're growing up, you end up meeting friends because of whoever lives really close to you, that kind of thing.
Right.
And I do.
Because I actually met your brothers first. Because because we lived at the end of the cul-de-sac thing, it was a dead end road, and I can't even remember where the hell it led off to. Because I'm getting it mixed up with my old house. The woods? Yeah. So we moved into I think it was a duplex there. Or duplexes? Yeah, I always get the words.
Considered. I want to say it's considered a duplex. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, hey Alejandro, good to see you, sir. Thank you for stopping in. But yeah, so I moved in, and then your brothers were playing around, and that was when it still had that grate down at the end that was broken, and your brothers were breaking it more and hanging on the freaking they had a barrier thing on top of it, and they were just putzing around playing on it. And then I think you came down to get them or yell at them or something, and we kind of said hi to each other. Now, a little bit of background between myself and O'Grady. I was the relatively good kid. I listened to my mom. I didn't mess around. Everybody has met my mom, and she is known as the monster for a reason. Yeah. And even back then, it was. And O'Grady was not as well behaved, and got into a lot. Look at the face. You can just tell that's a face of trouble.
Me?
And I knew of O'Grady. Because of the announcements over on it was always can we please have Michael O'Grady come down to the office?
I remember you mentioned that to me. I do remember that at some point early on in our friendship that you were like, I had like a reputation to you
Yes.
That you were like, I know that name. Why do I know your name? Oh, that's right. I heard it on announcements over the loudspeaker, like, can everybody give Michael O'Grady down to the principal's office? And you're like, what? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
At least once a week. Is that fair?
Probably. I don't know. But I don't know. It's really funny that when I think about it, I don't remember getting in trouble that much, maybe compared to your standards.
Right.
But it was also like just a lot of stupid stuff too, where I just always kind of played dumb, like, what did I do? I didn't know. We can't do that? Oh, my bad. Like that. Because I think also too is because I grew up with my father is a police officer.
Yes.
And everybody's involved with the law in my family. So it's kind of like I learned how to get away with shit sometimes because you knew, like, oh, maybe I can do this prank or do this stunt and then just play dumb. Like, again, like I didn't know I couldn't do that kind of a thing. And I think, you had a little bit of this weary hesitation hanging out with me. And in hindsight, it was probably good for me to meet somebody like you to know what it was like to not be such a dumbass.
I think we really evened out each other.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think we really did. I think both of our moms were a little happy that we met. I talked to I've talked to both of our moms like later down the years, and your mom would say, you were a troublemaker, and you had your things here and there, but she's like, it was so nice when you came around because you would kind of just at least make them think about it for a second before. You would, because before I came around, you're like, all right, let's go do all the dumb shit, and then I showed up, and you're like, we're still gonna do the dumb shit, but I at least hesitated for a second.
Right, I thought about it. I considered. I definitely did. Because it's you have to have. I guess for you and I was that friend where you would be like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Like, hold on. Like, let's just don't do. And I'd be like, what? Like, but then I've had those friends where I'm the good guy going, this guy's out of his mind. Somebody needs to harness this dude. And you know what I mean? So it's that kind of,
Well, and this kind of goes with Kyle Nunez's question. He goes, you met Josh and learned how to be a smartass, Michael? No, that's totally the opposite. It is totally okay. So when I say I was a good kid, I was like, I never wanted to do anything wrong. I never wanted to get into trouble. Like my mom put the fear of, I would say God, but I think it's scarier than that. So, I never stepped out of line. But when I started hanging, and I didn't have a ton of friends. I've always been that guy that just didn't have a ton of friends. I was very nervous around people. I was kind of like an introvert and everything. So when I started hanging out with O'Grady, and I always call you Grady. Like I think I used to call you Mike, but it's always been O'Grady. There was too many Mikes and Michaels around when we were younger.
It's that, and it's where we grew up. I tell people that all the time. Since living in Los Angeles, people call me Michael, and it's very
so weird. It is,
And everybody's different. It depends. Some people just have that in them to call people by their last names.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have one of those last names that, like,
it's a unique one.
I don't think I ever told you to call me O'Grady. You just knew I was O'Grady.
Yeah. Well, and then Mike Hicks started showing up. So we had at least two Mikes at all times.
Right. And he was a Mike, and I've never been a Mike.
No.
I'm not a Mike. There's some guys who are Mikes. There's some guys who are Michaels. I'm definitely a Michael. And definitely some people just inherently have it to call me O'Grady. Yeah.
Yeah. But when I started hanging out with you, and then we started hanging out with some more people, because for a good while, it was just you and I. And we would hang out at your house. We were mostly hanging at your house because you had a big house. You had the basement. Right. Michael O'Grady's basement was fucking amazing when we were kids.
Mojo Lounge.
The Mojo Lounge, pool table, bar, full bar, wraparound couch, all the instruments, all the music instruments you can think of. And at some point, a Star Wars pinball machine, which is still my favorite Star Wars pinball machine. Oh, my God.
We don't have it anymore.
Oh man, I see that at if I see it at our arcade, that's automatically where I go to play that for some nostalgia.
It was a good one.
Whenever I get a bigger house and I can have like a little bit of an arcade area, that is the first one I'm buying and putting in my house.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you know the funny thing about that is too is I want to mention real quick after you experienced this a little bit when we would do shows in my basement.
Yeah.
And we would have people come over and bands and stuff like that. And it was definitely like a hangout spot. It was like that 70s show, but a little bit on a bigger scale as far as
yeah,
people would come over. And then sometime after you left and went to like Florida or whatever it was, before I moved to California, we really started doing some shit. I mean, we threw a party one time where I had a couple of bands play. I had a couple of girls work as bartenders. We threw this party where me and you remember Matt Murray?
I remember Matt Murray.
One of my best friends, since when we were all kids, you, me, him, and everybody.
Yeah.
Him and I spent all of our money. I think we spent probably somewhere close to $1,000 on booze.
Oh my God.
Beer, liquor, whatever. And when we threw this party, we charged people at the door like $5.
Okay.
And people were like, "Why? What? You're having a party, but I'm paying you $5." I go, "Here's the deal: $5. You can drink whatever you want, and there's music, and there's the pool, and it gets you all of that." And we ended up doubling our money. And we even like I said, I had girls working as bartenders. They would make like fancy, cool drinks.
Right.
Anything of like top shelf, like, ooh, I want the good stuff. And we would charge a little bit for that. But we ended up doing that at one point, and that was a little,
I love your damn house. I love your damn house. And what really scares me is I remember the shit we used to do and the shit that went on in that house when I was around. So I can't even imagine something that was bigger than that.
My favorite part about all this too, this is my absolute favorite, is so I've been living in Los Angeles since I was 21 years old. And when I was 23, 24, it was around this age time, and I go back home for like holidays and stuff. And I remember this vividly. This was so funny. Mm-hmm. I go back home. I'm sitting talking with my mom, catching up. It's like Christmas time. And she goes, "Oh my God, you're never going to believe it. I busted the twins, my younger brothers, the other day down in the basement doing blah, blah, blah." I won't say what it was. And I started laughing. I go, "You got to be shitting me." And she goes, she takes a minute, she takes a beat. She goes, "I'm just really glad I never had to worry about that with you."
Oh, I love your mother.
And I go, "All right, it's been some time." And I go, "Mom, here's the thing. The twins are dumbasses. We never got caught. That's the difference.
Right.
I just never got caught.
Never got caught.
And she heard drink, and her eyes were like, "You what?"
Oh, she would. I hope your mom doesn't watch this because, man.
No, she knows. She knows all about this debauchery now. And I would,
I mean, the shit that we would do. I mean, there was times, and again, this is so hanging with O'Grady and the few people and the people that we ended up hanging out with O'Grady with. I learned how to go back and forth, people. The messing with people, the fucking around, and being on top of that game. That's where I originally learned how to get into that. And then mastered it over the years with different shows and different people. But that's how I can go on a podcast now and go back and forth and just, rant and cause chaos because O'Grady this guy here is the person that taught me how to do it.
But you've always had that smart ass, quick wit about you too. I think that was one of the things about our friendship because we both had that at least. Like, you like to paint yourself as like this good kid, which you were, yeah.
Right.
But you also were very, I mean, it's the second I heard about your podcast, Talk with Bauer, I was like, yeah, that's him. Of course, you're polite and you don't do it, but if you wanted to, you have that. And some people either have that or they don't. And I think what highlighted us as friends because, and that's how you meet a lot of people where you just kind of go, you can just shoot the shit. And that's all we did was shoot the shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it was just
in this wild imagination of, wouldn't it be funny this? And this is what makes, this think of and blah, 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 blah. And like both of our moms are salt of the earth, sweethearts who lay down the law. And, Like, you know, you don't have to worry about God. God's taking a day off when I come down. Yeah. You never wanted to make Holly mad. You never wanted to make Louise mad, for sure.
No.
It was always that thing of like, you know, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Oh God.
I'll deal with you later. You know.
But then like, and our moms are both very cool, but they were a little different. And your mom, and especially it was very interesting being around your house because your family all worked in the police force. Yeah. So that was a whole different ball game that I have never experienced. And like, and being with O'Grady's family, like the way I was at your house at least probably every weekend, you know, for a good while, especially when I lived down the street.
Daily. Like when you started driving, you picked me up for school.
Yeah, so it was a good 3 to 4 years.
On the bedroom window because I couldn't wake up.
Oh God, I hated coming to pick your ass up.
That runs in the family too.
And the fucking scary thing is you swing when you wake somebody up because your house was never locked. So I'd have to get up early and I'd drive to your house because I moved across town because we bought a house down the road. So I had to move. I had to come and because I told him, I'm like, oh, when I get my license, we'll drive. We won't have to take the bus because the bus was like, it was our first stop in the morning. So we were on the bus for what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes before we got to school. We were one
of the first ones for sure.
Oh, it was terrible. We would fall asleep on there all the time. And oh God. So I told him, I'm like, all right, when I start driving, I'll drive us to school. Well, when I started driving, I lived across town now. So I'd have to drive to come get him. I'd pull into the driveway.
Wow, you're such a good friend. I'm an asshole. Sorry.
I put a stop to it senior year.
You don't do that for like anybody. You're like, that's your fucking problem.
I did that for a year, and then you would go. I would have to take Skylar home, or I'd have to take this person home, or one of your girls for the week home. Oh, this is blah blah blah.
Good. I was never that good. I'm not that good.
Oh, you and Skylar always had girls all over you. Don't give me that shit. I'm fucking there. Don't give me that shit.
Again, I'm going back with the what?
What? Yeah. But yeah, I would have to come in and your house was unlocked and your parents knew me. This was like, you know, hanging out with you after 3 or 4 years. I'd walk in and I would see either your mom or your dad, and I'd be like, is he up? Well, of course not. Okay. So I'd have to come into your room and kind of push on you and like touch you a little bit, and you would stir a little bit. And then when you finally woke up, you came out swinging. Yeah. So I'm surprised I didn't have a helmet or something. That would have been way smarter. But
it is that weird thing. I have a very deep sleep habit, and then I've always been a person where it's hard for me to fall asleep because my mind is just going. And luckily enough, as the older I've gotten, it's gotten a lot better and everything. Except for right now, the COVID-19 has done it's made me revert back to that where I'm sleeping in now and missing my alarm because internally, my brain subconsciously and my body goes, we don't have to get up. Mm-hmm. We don't have to. So like normally I've been, but I'm sorry you had to deal with all that because in the last few years, I've gotten a lot better of like hearing the alarm, beating the alarm, and waking up and not having that such deep sleep and scaring the shit out of everybody.
Oh, it was terrifying. I felt bad. You know, I always thought about it. I felt bad for like your future wife or something because like you're gonna knock her in the face or something.
No, you know what? And I always, you know what it is? It's that weird thing of like opposites attract because I've always ended up dating very women who, and I think a lot of girls do this. I don't want to generalize and say all women are like this, but I think a lot of women, or at least the ones that I've dated or met, are very light sleepers. Right. They don't have a heavy, so that if you just, if you roll over, it wakes them up. Mm-hmm. And when they've tried to wake me up for things and stuff, they get mad because they're like, a bomb could go off and you're not getting up. And I'm like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, my wife sleeps like the dead. She has officially slept through hurricanes. It's very impressive. Yeah.
Wow.
It is very impressive.
That's good. Yeah. But then also I get jealous of people like Mike Hicks, a buddy of ours. I'm giving you a shout out, Mike, because I know you're watching this shit or you're going to watch the post. Is that dude I remember would fall asleep at the drop of a hat. He'd go, I'm tired, close his eyes.
Oh my God.
out.
We're like, all right, Hicks is out. We could tell
like that thing in Saving Private Ryan where they're like, how does he sleep so quick? And you're just like, he doesn't have a guilty conscience. And I'm like, that's not me.
Oh my God. So I apparently some of her, I have to say hi to Amelia. Good seeing you, Amelia.
Okay.
And apparently,
do you have any embarrassing Josh stories? Oh
yeah.
Do I know you got a lot on me, which you got a better memory than I do.
Oh, I even have pictures. I found some pictures. We'll get to those in a little bit.
All right, there we go. Bye, everybody. See you. Wait, actually, hold on one second. I need to grab my water. It's over here. One second. I'm getting cotton mouth already.
So I'll keep talking, but O'Grady taught me we would be over at O'Grady's house. His house ran like 24 hours a day. Like I don't even know when half the people in his house slept. We would go till 2, 3, 4 in the morning over there all the time. People would randomly show up at 1 in the morning, and that would like start a new thing that we were going on.
Yeah, that's we grew up in like a big family. We grew up everybody coming over, and what's weird is I'm kind of a little bit of the black sheep as far as some of my brothers or like my mom or whatever, because I mean they have their friends and everything, but I was always a person where I wanted everybody to come on over, hang out, blah, 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 blah. And I had like no problem with that. But unfortunately with that kind of generosity, and I'm sure as you know, with when you're a nice guy or a nice person, or you got whatever, you end up attracting a group of maybe not so good people, and you learn some hard lessons along the way. I mean, like as I've gotten older, where I feel like an old man now, where I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm not going there. I'm not doing that. A little bit of that. Like, I don't have to. Like, anyway, but yeah. I don't know if I have like any embarrassing stories on you, unless you can remind me right now, if you have the guts to remind me, because I feel like a lot of the embarrassing stories were me. Yeah.
I can't think of anything. I mean, there was a couple of times where I would go to sleep early because, I mean, it was basically who lasted the longest. And you would find anywhere around the house to just pass out once you were done. And I was one of the ones that would go to bed a little bit earlier because I would usually roll
you about that. We would.
Oh yeah.
Any adventure, any stupid shit we wanted to do, you'd be like, no, guys, I'm not doing that. And we would be like, come on, man. And you're like, give the credit to Josh to know who he is and go, I'm not doing this. This is stupid. No. Good luck, fuckers. Like that kind, like I'm out.
Well, and we would hang out, and you guys would all be drinking, and you guys would all be getting shit faced. And I think there was a couple of times here and there where I had a shot, but I never got drunk with you guys. I just chilled, and that was like the nice thing. You guys were always like, you pushed it a little bit here and there, but it was just like, no, guys, I don't do that. That wasn't my thing, and you guys were cool with it. Now, when I went to sleep and you guys would be a little drunk, I remember one night I was passed out, and all of a sudden I'm like dreaming, and I feel this burning in my mouth. It feels like just my mouth is on fire. I have no idea what's going on. I wake up and somebody runs away. I want to say it was Skylar or somebody like that, but they went and put either alcohol on their fingers or they took some kind of strong alcohol, and I got it in my mouth while I was sleeping.
Oh, that's horrible. I do not remember this.
Yeah, I believe you were all drunk at that point.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the same night where we learned, and I already knew it, but you guys didn't believe me. It was when you had a bunch of drinks and you guys were already pretty toasted, but you decided to go into the hot tub. And I tried to tell you guys, I'm like, if you go in the hot tub, you're going to get drunker, and you guys are already bad enough. Nah, it'd be fine, Josh. It'd be fine. It'd be great. You want to come? No, because I know the weird shit you do when you're sober. Like I went and fell asleep for a little bit, and you guys came back down just trashed. So I think that might have been the same night. There was times where I started. A lot
of stories about stuff like that for sure.
Oh yeah,
I'm surprised when I look back on it now, and one of the things, the biggest game changer was, I think this has been what's so weird for me is I have a 2-year-old daughter now. And once that happens, you start to evaluate your life and go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did this.
Right.
And you just it takes you back because you're just like, oh, I got to be an adult now. And you think about when you were 15, 17, 20, 21, all the shit that you're like, how am I alive? How did, you know what I mean? And so it kind of makes you kind of settle down a little bit and go, all right, I'm not going to be like that anymore because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, and I was always kind of, and I think it was because I was raised by a single mom, so I couldn't play around. I wasn't allowed to be, like my mom let me be a kid, but, you know, there was a lot of stuff that I had to grow up quickly. So when I started hanging out,
we were 15. You were already there. You were already at that point of like, you know, this adult mature. That's why I think we had to in our lives, because you have to have that grounded friend who goes, don't do it. It's a bad idea.
It's bad.
What's the famous last words? Watch this. Hold my beer. Like that kind
of thing.
I've
heard that plenty of times at O'Grady's house.
I think about that now. We used to jump off the roof into the pool.
I know.
You can't get me. You could not get me to do that now. I think about it and I get anxiety over it going, why did we do? We could have died easily.
Well, and there was concrete all around the pool. And you guys tried to get me to do it so many times. I'm like, no. I'm like, and then the other thing you guys would do that always scared the hell out of me, because we lived in Ohio. So in the wintertime, you had to shut the pool down. I know some Floridians don't know how this works, but the O'Grady's had this really cool, it was a like when the pool was shut down for the winter, it was this big green mesh top that got like bolted into the ground. Like the bolts were in there for all time. And so like all of a sudden I'd show up and that's how you knew the winter was coming, because it was there. You would show up and it's like, oh, okay, we closed the pool for today.
Summer's over.
Summer's done. All right, back to the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
But you crazy psychopaths. We would be sitting in the hot tub in the middle of winter, and you had to stay hiding in the hot water.
Yep.
And then you guys would get out with steam coming off of you, and you would run across the damn pool.
Yeah.
And it was cool because I will have to say it was cool because you got the cold air making you steam. So it looked like you were kind of on fire. And then your footsteps hit the cold water. So you're steaming in the footsteps. But if like one thing broke, you would have died. Like if it would have went down, that would have caught you up and you'd be dead.
You know what's weird about that too is that it took a couple of years for me to realize a lot of stuff because again, like, you know, I mean, as when your parents don't have enough time to explain everything to you, I learned. You probably don't even know this. But I learned about with the pool and the tarps and the floaty toys and all that stuff, my dad would freak the F out if we left anything in the pool. And he would go bananas. And the reason why is because he's a police officer, retired now. He went on a call one time where a little girl went missing. He went through, they're looking, they're doing the whole thing. They go in the backyard. And they found her underneath an inner tube. They couldn't see her.
Oh, God.
So that's why he had like this Vietnam PTSD.
I kind of remember him. I thought he told us.
If you left anything out, he would go bananas. And it wasn't until I was maybe 25, my mom finally explained, you ever wonder why your dad would just lose it out of nowhere? And I would go, well, that would have been nice to know when I was 12, but thanks for
other than it being your dad.
you just thought he was a psycho out of nowhere, but then you're like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. But anyway, but that's kind of it's one of those things. And now that I'm a parent, I'm like, oh my God, all this shit can go wrong. Like that kind of thing.
Well, and then it was always fun, like because people were trying to ask the weirdest things of me. And O'Grady was the weird and eccentric one. I was the guy that was hanging out with him.
Yeah,
and I was kind of the background kid.
You're definitely my voice for reason.
Yeah, and I remember there's a lot of different parties I remember you dragging me to, and a lot of scary ones. And I used to be the roadie for the music stuff, carrying around. The Lumina was able to carry the drum set, so that was like I became the driver of the drum set for one of the bands. But I remember going to some. I don't know if it was a house because Warren, Ohio has a lot of interesting houses. And we went to this house place and the party was in a basement. Mm-hmm. And we go into this basement. There is only one entrance, one exit. Everything else is like there's some small windows. I was losing my ever-loving mind because I was taught by people, you watch and this is me being 31 at 15. When you get into a place, you look at the exits, you see where you can get out in case there's trouble, in case there's a fire, in case there's anything.
Where was this? I don't remember this.
I have no idea. I remember you and me going, and I think we packed in some, because I was driving, and you guys talked me into going to this party, because I never liked going to these parties, because they were always just people I didn't know, goofy shit going on, and you ended up usually getting, one or many of you would get drunk, and then I'd have to cart you all home. But yeah, it was this basement thing, and I like, as soon as I walked in there, I just felt uncomfortable, and I'm like, and I kept going to you. We have to go. Why? We just have to go. We have to leave. I don't want to be here. And it took like an hour to finally get you out. There's also, I don't know if you remember this one. Do you remember where my dad lives in Champion?
I remember going there a bunch. Can I tell you something that's funny?
Yeah.
This is so weird. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I can still picture his house in the way it looks in the front yard, the backyard, the street. Your grandparents' house, which was like a stone throw over, literally next door.
Yes.
And I remember, I have so many vivid memories of that place, so much so that when I am watching, or I'm thinking about things, if you watch like a stand-up comedian and they're telling a story about going to their house, for some odd reason, I don't picture my house when they're telling stories. I picture that house. I don't know why. I don't know why. I picture
your house most of the time.
Yeah, because I remember the exact like layout of the inside.
Right.
I think because it was so big to me, because we were so young, and it's such a big open space. It's a big house, second story.
Oh yeah.
And big side yard, front yard, backyard. So for some reason, I still picture that house when I put myself in a dining room, living room, upstairs bedroom type of situation. When I mentally picture it, and I go, "That's Josh Bauer's dad's house." Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, and there's this. So on the way to my dad's house, you go down this one big main road. And there's a house that's right before the baseball fields.
Okay.
We went to this house, and every time I pass this house, I remember everything of this night because it was terrible. So we went to this house, and there was it was you, me, and I want to say Skylar. I'm pretty sure it's Skylar.
I've heard that kid's name too many times during this podcast.
I know.
Sorry.
That's some of my craziest memories.
I know.
With him around.
I know, but go ahead. I know.
So we went there because one and or both you had girls at the party. And again, I was the only one that had a car to drive at that time. So you talked me into taking you guys out to there. We go out there, and we're hanging out and everything. And I don't know what went wrong. I think Skylar did something wrong and pissed somebody off and pissed one of the people off. Then all of a sudden, the whole party turned against us. The mom and dad came out. The stepdad looked like some dude off a 80s porno with the full stash, thick-ass glasses, hat, and everything. And, like, basically, were kicking us out, telling us to get the F out. They were going to call the cops. And you guys were arguing with them. I'm trying to drag you back to the car. And, like... And what's really funny is because I always remember this thing, and it was just and really I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what went wrong. It just went from everything's cool to everything's chaotic.
Right.
And the dude was the stepdad guy was trying to be big and buff. Even at that time, one of us could have taken him. he was nothing. He was trying to be this big badass.
I remember this. I can't picture at all. I have a weird memory like that. Where
but also you drank more than I did. Like all these times I was sober.
Yeah.
It's
weird. I have memories where I can remember very specific things, but at the same time too, I mean, even whether I was drinking or not drinking, but this isn't the only time this happens. There's been times where I've been talking to family at dinners and don't you remember this? And I'm like, no, I don't. And it's weird. I don't know why. But, oh, man, I wish – maybe I'm glad I don't remember this because this does sound like a terrifying night. It sounds scary. Are you getting yelled at?
No,
Josh
yes.
is getting yelled at now.
A little bit.
What did you do wrong?
Apparently I've told the story enough of the hot tub story with the getting drunker that my wife kind of heard it across the room and knew exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, across the house.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so she's heard the story of plenty of times and everything.
Yeah, and she's heard plenty of O'Grady stories. I mean, this is like almost all of high school we hung out.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hanging out with you. Was that?
When did you move to Florida? I forget.
I moved to Florida in 2008, but we actually stopped hanging out in my juniorish year. Okay. Because you and I had a bit of a falling out.
Yeah, he took the last Oreo, and I never forget.
Yeah, we had a bit of a falling out, and really, when we first started hanging out, we were kind of alike. We played a lot of video games and everything. Yeah. And then as we got older, you got more into music. I was more into video games, but we still hung out. We were still doing everything, but it was more just, doing the music stuff, hanging out with people, causing trouble and stuff like that. Right. And then after so long, we really just became very different people and weren't really hanging out much. And you were hanging out with a different crew, and I started hanging out with some people. So, and after I stopped hanging out with you, because you were like, your house was the hangout house. Then, like, right after senior year, my house became the hangout house, and I had my own little crew. So it was kind of weird how it all switched up.
O'Grady seems like the kind of person I'd really get along with potentially chaotic side.
Oh, yeah. Amelia, you two would just, you guys would be perfect to hang out with each other.
I'm not so chaotic now. I've grown up and I've matured over time and everything.
Like I told you the last time we talked, you still look like trouble. So I'm sure it's only, semi-grown up.
Well, what's funny is a lot of people do have like a really weird misconception about me in some regards where, for instance, everybody always thinks I'm such a stoner, which I'm not. I don't handle weed well, and but especially when I laugh or I smile or I'm kind of talking, I look like I'm like, I just how I, whatever. But I'm not so chaotic now anymore. I mean, I think because I got all of that out of my system at such a young age.
I think you lived like 2 lifetimes during that time, during your young age.
It's weird. I actually, after my daughter was born, I did start to feel this weird. The analogy I always use is it's like you're in a fast car moving at like 100 miles an hour your whole life, and then you're carrying baggage. You're just collecting shit on the way, like this experience, that bad experience, that good experience, and you're carrying it like cargo. Right. And then eventually something happens in your life that changes you. It's cliche, but it's absolutely true. And it just like all of a sudden I went into a screeching halt, and I was like, whoa, like I'm a different, I feel different now. You feel this weird, just a quick example was like, again, like I said, used to go from getting so drunk and blacking out, jumping off of roofs, doing crazy, terrible shit. I have a story about being with Matt Murray up at Kent State University where I got 15 stitches in my chin because I passed out from partying.
Oh my God.
You don't know about that.
No, and Kent State is a very interesting area to party at.
Yeah, and the other thing about it too is it's like I never got bothered by things before, but after my daughter was born, I would get on flights and start to have panic attacks. And,
oh wow!
Yeah, and everybody says they're like that's normal. At least
my mom used to do that.
Yeah, and it's like because now you have something that has changed your life dramatically, and it's made you evaluate and think and everything. Right. But I still like to go and have fun.
Yeah, of course. Now, we spent 41 minutes of talking about past stuff. I knew that was going to happen. I was going to try to quickly talk. We can if you want to.
I don't give a shit. What else am I doing?
All right, we can make this an hour and a half once. Because I want to talk about your music and everything.
Totem pole that what else is going on. Like, I guess I'll talk to him more because there's nothing better to do.
There's nothing better to do. I can't leave the house. So I guess I'll talk to this asshole some more.
No. I mean, I'm fine, man. I got no time restraint. I mean,
okay.
So,
yeah, we'll go probably about an hour and a half for my show. And then, so I want to get into, because with hanging out with you this whole time, or that whole time and everything, a big thing in our lives and a big thing that we did was music. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of music, and I am not a musician. And at this time too, for people to kind of understand where I was at in life, I didn't have the full art thing. This was actually, I didn't get more into the art stuff until high school. And when I hung out with O'Grady, it was before I got really into the art thing and everything.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just tagging along for stuff, especially, you know, when O'Grady got out of the video games, we stopped playing video games. I'd play video games more with your brothers than you. And I would hang out with them.
Players than I was. I was never really good at them.
That's yeah. And he was angry at them. I have never seen a dude chuck a PlayStation 2 controller, hit a piano, and have it perfectly wrap around a couple of times and just hang there.
Yeah, it brings out the competitive side of me that I don't like. Plus, I'm not good at it. I don't have that part of my brain. You know what I mean?
So when because I think when I met you, you were at least into it a bit. You were playing guitar. You were playing piano. You guys were doing the piano lessons as far as I remember. So when did you get into music?
Well, that's a really good question, John. And I'm going to answer that question. Well, we grew up with music our whole life in a nutshell. My mom always played music in the house. So did my dad. And I actually just told this story on the last episode about him taking me to see AC/DC when I was 12. So if anybody wants to check that out, Michael O'Grady and the Creatives, I saw AC/DC when I was 12 years old. But before that, he made us take piano lessons from Sister Mary Shovelface, and I hated it because it wasn't like rock. It was like ding, 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 dong, ding, ding, ding.
Oh, yeah.
Ding, ding, you know, whatever. And then I got into drums, and I like playing drums a lot, and I had fun with that. But yeah, when I was 12, he took me to see AC/DC because he got tickets somehow from somebody who I think couldn't go to the show. And growing up until that point, I knew a little bit about, like, you know, you're a kid, and this was before classic rock, I feel, had a resurgence of being so cool and popular. We grew up in the era like Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears and all that pop music, riding the school bus, listening to Kiss FM. That's all you knew about.
Yeah.
I do remember that and again, I tell this story like almost verbatim in my previous show. I didn't want to go at first.
Oh my God, that's insane to me. Because as much as we listened to AC/DC, because I knew of them and I had some favorite songs, but you taught me and got me into depth with all the CDs, and we would just play it and play it and play it.
After seeing the concert.
Yeah.
But my first feeling at first when it came about was thinking, when you're that age, your dad goes like, hey, you're going to go to this show with me. And I remember thinking, I don't want to do that because you listen to old time dad music. I remember feeling that way. I remember asking my mom, I'm going, I don't want to go. And there wasn't that much fight on my part because I am a very stubborn kind of person, especially when I was younger. If I didn't want to do something, I would throw a tantrum. I know, you know.
So shocked.
Very, very stubborn that way. But for some reason, I was like, okay, fine. And he bought 2 CDs, which was High Voltage, Stiff Upper Lip. And all of a sudden, that got me. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I like listening to this. And when we went to the show, I remember it just being the first big event thing that I ever went to. And I remember them coming out on stage. And I stood on my feet for the entire 2 hours. And my ears were ringing. It was loud. Oh, yeah. And I knew all those songs because my dad always listened to the radio and he would listen to classic rock stations. So it hooked me in really. Like, I was like, I want to be Angus Young. I want to play guitar. And the other big thing about it too was, you probably remember this, when I was growing up, and you haven't seen me in a while, but I got a little bit taller. But when I was younger, I was really short. I was really small.
Oh, yeah.
And I picked on for it a lot and everything because everybody was bigger. I was the youngest in my class. I hung out with older people all the time. And it kind of gave me this inferiority complex and almost like a Napoleon thing. But my dad made it a point to be like, you know, that guy up there on stage is like only like 5'2". Right. And that, seeing the show, hearing something like that made my brain switch. And it made me over a lot of things really quickly and go, well, I can do that. I don't need to be that, because I have an older brother and I have all these big people who are dominant at sports and stuff like that, who are better at you. And I go, well, maybe I can be the best at this because I really liked it. And you didn't need to be a physically big guy to be able to be good about it. And you can be larger than life on stage. Yeah. And right after that, and another great thing, because I got hooked into it. I wanted to play guitar. It's all I wanted to fucking do. I wanted to be Angus Young. I wanted to be Slash. That cracks me up because I remember my dad, he would call me Slash and I didn't get it. Mm-hmm. And I remember my mom going, don't call him that. Any mother who names their son Slash has serious issues. Like, she thought that was his real name. Why would a mother do that to a child? Slash. Anyway.
I miss your mom.
The first time I broke a guitar string, she flipped out. She flipped the fuck out. She was like, oh my God, do you know how much money we spent on that guitar? How could you break it? And she didn't know that guitar strings broke.
Yeah.
And then I think a couple of years later, when here's a good story.
Okay.
I was 14, probably just about to turn 15. I can't remember. I know I was about to be a freshman in high school.
Okay.
During that summer, and for my birthday, and you and I were hanging out a lot, my dad got 3 or 4 tickets to see Kiss and Aerosmith at the end
of... Oh, my God.
That
was so amazing. Dude, oh, God.
Here's the thing. I missed a football game because of that concert. And
because you were in the band.
My dad and my band director got into it.
I remember that.
Blowout. Here's what's weird. This is this weird Irish luck that happens is he gets the tickets in June for my birthday. Didn't Mike Hicks go with us? Or was it just you and me?
No, it was you, me, and Mike Hicks, maybe?
No, you know what?
There was a third kid.
I know Mike Hicks and I saw Motley Crue at one point. And that was with somebody else, but I don't remember. Anyway, he'll remind me. He's got good memory. We get the tickets in June. July, the band schedule comes out. I'm a drummer in the marching band. Yeah. I was playing cymbals. The band schedule comes out. The football schedule comes out. Mm-hmm. Football games, as a lot of people probably know, are on Friday fucking nights. They're on Friday nights. The first game, for some odd reason, was on a Thursday, like August 22nd or something. And on August 22nd was the day of the Kiss and Aerosmith show, right smack dab on that day. And I'm panicking and freaking out, going, and because they said, listen, you can miss a football game every now and again, like one a year, and it doesn't matter. But the band director was like, the first game is mandatory. You cannot miss the first game. Mm-hmm. And that freaked me out. And I went to my dad and I was like, I don't think we can go to the show. My band director said, we have to go to this, we have to do the football game. And he goes, I'll talk to her.
Oh my God.
We go to the school. I remember sitting outside of like the office, like chill areas or whatever in the hallway. And I hear the muffled talking of Charlie Brown going, and it got louder and louder and louder. And then the door swings open and Mrs. Moore.
Yeah, Mrs. Moore.
Waddling out going, I have never dealt with such an indecent human being who doesn't show any respect. And da-da-da. And my dad's just cool as a cucumber because he's a cop, but he kind of knows how to push buttons. And he's like, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know how you think and feel. And I remember him going, it was either him or me. And she goes, well, if he doesn't show up to this game, he is getting dropped 2 letter grades. And he goes, well, I guess we're not going to the football game. We're going to the concert. And we fucking did. We go to the concert. And if you were to get my report card for music classes from 6th grade, 5th grade, 4th grade, apologize, 4th grade all the way to senior year, it's like A's and then 1 C and then A's again.
Oh.
I did that for you, Kiss and Aerosmith.
Kayla still complains about that music teacher. Like every so often, if we're talking about high school, because we all went to the same high school and everything, she still complains about that music teacher.
Yeah, dude, I went back home one time, sometime in my late 20s, and we went to go see a movie with my brothers, and she was there right in front of us getting tickets.
Oh my God.
Turned around, I kid you not, she turned around like this, looked at me, went, and then turned back the other way. Didn't say a damn word, but looked at me for 2 seconds. I was like, wait,
yeah,
oh God,
I've heard she's very pleasant. Big shout out to Thomas Rochester. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for popping in. He loves your hair, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love it too. I hope I get to keep it. And I haven't had a haircut in a while because of this, but thank God.
I like how we've gotten older. You've gotten more hair and I've gotten way less hair. So back to you doing music. So when I started hanging out with you, you had the drums. I think you were pretty into guitar. I do have to tell you, if I meet anybody that's young and plays like guitar now, like we've run into some people here and there through living in Florida and everything. The standard is you for young musicians.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you.
Because like you always impress me because I've never figured out the guitar stuff. I'd play around with your drum set and try to learn a little bit. And then like, I think your mom and my mom got together when I was hanging out with you a lot. And I think even when I was living with you for that short period of time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
It was awesome the first couple weeks, and then it went not so awesome. Never live with your best friend. It
gets tough.
But I think our moms talked, and they were going to try to have me take lessons with the piano teacher because I kept talking about it was so cool that you guys were learning music, and I wanted to learn music too to kind of keep up with you. That was kind of my thing. And my mom was like, well, I could try to see. And I knew my mom couldn't afford it at that time. And I'm just like, no, it's good. I'll just hang around. And, we kind of just messed around. But when I came in and started hanging out with you, you didn't have a band. And then you came out with your first band, as far as I know. Do you remember the first band's name?
Double Cherry Bar? Was it that?
No, that is not the first band. That was the first like real big official band.
What was the first band?
But your first band was Mike, and it was just like AC/DC. Yeah. And then here, so we'll do two pictures. Here's the first one. So there's your logo there.
Oh my God, you have that photo.
That is O'Grady right there, and that is me. This was my 16th birthday.
You have to send that. You have to take a picture or
send it. I'll scan all these and send them to you. I found a few more of us too. We don't have a ton together, to be honest with you. But yeah, this was my 16th birthday because I was living with you when I turned 16.
Oh, it was that.
Yeah.
He has a way better fucking memory than me.
I don't know how I have this all down, but yeah, because my mom had the divorce, I think it was, or the breakup. I can't remember that one. Wait
a minute. You lived down the street.
I lived down the street.
And then she had to move. You came and bunked with me for like a month or two while she was getting situated, and then you ended up in Howland. Is that what it is, the timeline?
I think I lived down by you for a while. Then we moved out of there, and I think we moved in with her husband at the time.
Right.
And then
you came, and then she got her.
Yeah, when that fell out, I wanted to stay in Howland, and I really couldn't go and live with my grandfather, because she went and stayed with her dad for a while, and that family in Sellington.
Yeah.
So we talked, and I came and lived with you for at least a month or so.
Yeah.
I think it might have been longer. Yeah. And then she bought the house like right around Christmas time, because I lived with you like Halloweenish time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Halloweenish and because we went to your parent or your grandparents for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. My grandma Cindy, where we go every year for Thanksgiving. Yeah. And you dinner at 1 o'clock because that's what time. Thanksgiving dinner is 1 o'clock. And I gotta say this too, real quick, before I lose track, and in case your mom hears to see this, quick shout out to her to say hi. And if I never made a point of it, I should make a point of it now. When I think about those times, hanging out with you, and this goes out to your grandparents, your dad, and everybody, your brothers, and everybody in the family. probably everybody in your circle of your family is a very kind, wholehearted, nurturing, caring, welcoming human being. Somebody who was always like, come over, hang out, eat dinner with us. Felt like a secondary home kind of a type of thing. And so when I think about those memories, I think about the awesome hospitality that both your parents and your extended family always had. So that's
how it was the same with you. I mean, honestly, at that time, we were basically brothers. I mean, we were at each other's houses all the time.
And you have a thing where you're like, fuck that guy, I'm not talking to him for a year. Like,
next night I'm at your damn house, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it was, I really cherish a lot of those years, and I love your family. I loved hanging out with all of them. Your brother was always super cool to me. I mean, I remember we would go out, and your brother, again, your whole family like rolled like all night, all day. Like, I don't know when they actually slept, but your brother,
like house from Home Alone.
Yeah.
There's just revolving doors of.
But your brother would roll in, and he's like, hey, you want to go get something to eat? It's like 1 a.m. We're like, yeah, sure. Yeah. We'll go to Walmart, grab some McDonald's, and then come back.
That's what we would do. Yeah.
You know, and then like going back to the experiencing a cop family life. The weirdest thing that I've ever experienced is when the cops started knowing me. That's how I knew like I was part of the family. Because the most one I remember, I think there's two. There's one, you weren't even with us. I don't know where you were, because I would hang out with your mom or your brothers without you even being around.
Yeah.
So I would go, and I was with your mom and your brothers, and we were in your mom's old truck, and we had to go to the police station where your mom, because your mom worked in the police station, or your mom worked in an office.
She's upstairs. She's technically considered a bailiff. Not so like the bailiff you think about on TV where they go, bailiff, take him away. But somebody who consults with defendants and stuff like that, and goes like, here's your rights, here's your case, da-da-da. And she works like secondhand to the judge. So yeah.
Yeah. So you, she would randomly have to go get stuff from there, like books or something like that. Yeah. So it was like later in the night. It was dark time, but we're going, and we ride out there, and we stuff the twins in the back. And, and we're in the truck, and we're going. We're outside the police station, and we're standing there talking for a second, and one of the officers rolls up, and he's like, hey Luis, how are you? Hi guys. Says hi both boys, and he goes, hey Josh, how's it going? I'm like,
he knew you. Yeah.
I'm like, and he rolls away, and I looked at your mom, I'm like, how's he know me? She goes, you're part of the family, dude. Everybody knows you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how it was. It's kind of a good thing too, because then you could, you knew you had a little bit of, in case you're not like this, but if you ever ran in trouble with the law, you had a good out.
Well, and that was even like when we would go and hang out, because we would hang out so late, and especially when I got the car, we would drive up to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're starving. And we would drive up to Speedway Sheets, whatever gas station we were in the mood to hit up.
That's all there is to do in Ohio.
Or Perkins. That's where my crew went when I started hanging out with my own crew at my house. It was Perkins every night.
Yeah, and that's what we did too. We did the same thing. It was like that's all you had was an option, and also at the time too, a place to go and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. Well, and Ohio, our area in Ohio had a curfew.
It did?
It was like midnight, 1 o'clock was technically, I think it was Howland at least. I don't know where.
I didn't know that.
Well, and it wasn't, so here's what it was, and I kind of figured it out. It was held in like if you got caught breaking curfew, it was for kids doing stupid shit.
Sure.
So if you would go and do something stupid, they go, oh, well, you did this and this and this, and you broke curfew. So go the hell home, or you're in trouble, or whatever. And most of the time when we were out and about, we were actually behaved. We would go into Sheets. We would grab our food, make our drinks, do whatever we needed to do, and get the hell out. But I remember running into some Warren cops, and you would be talking to them, and they'd be, and I always was just quiet and stuff. And they go, hey, Grady, what's up? How's your mom? How's your dad? And they'd be like, hey, Josh. I'm like, what the shit? Why do all these cops know my name?
You're guilty by association. But I'll tell you one thing, man. That's the one thing I miss about being at home because out here, it's nice that it's so big and people don't care as much about little things like that, like they do in a small town. But then again, you have like no pull. And to be honest with you, I did get, I've had some incidences with the law out here. I'm not going to go into that right now, but it's happened. And it gave me a reality check of like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to get away with this because, whatever. Because there was times when shit. Do you have time for another quick story?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Do you want to hear about the cops and stuff? Can you give me 1 second? I need to get a refill of water.
Yeah.
And I'll go into this because you don't know anything about this. And it's
God,
it's pretty good. 1 second, folks.
So while he's taking his break, you guys are watching Back Talk with Bauer. This is my podcast Facebook show. If you miss anything that's going on tonight, usually on Thursdays at noon, I drop the full episode on the Hanging with Web Show YouTube channel. Just type in HWWS WebTV, and you will be able to catch the replay of this. I edit it down a little bit. Pretty much everything stays in. I just put the fancy music in and all the stuff at the back end. But if you're watching this and you like the artwork behind me, please head over to jbauerartshop.com. You can purchase all of these paintings, any one of these. A couple of them haven't made it to the online shop, but please message me if you're interested in any of them. They're all for sale. Pretty much all the skinny ones are $200, the bigger ones are $300, and all you gotta do is message me, and I will get it to you.
The big ones are $100, the bigger ones are $300.
Yeah, I gotta make the side business work.
Yeah. You live close enough to Cuba or whatever it is. It's like Dexter.
So yeah, please tell the story, and then we got to get back to the music too, because I want to make sure we're plugging everything properly.
Right? Yeah.
Because there's so many band stories too. I've seen so many narrations of your bands.
And the other thing about me too is I'll talk about it too. Like I had so much music shit going on. Sorry, I apologize. I don't want to curse too much on your show.
You're good.
But I also, because of Corona, I have a couple of film things coming out where I'm like doing a lot of acting.
Okay.
But those all got pushed back. It's just another creative outlet. I've been doing a lot of like acting and music and stuff like that. And I've been.
I saw that. That looks awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm really bummed that it got pushed back because it was supposed to be released around now. But
okay.
So I shot this short film earlier in the year. We can talk about all that stuff in a second. But I do have a story about the police.
The police.
Police, straight out of the underground, straight out of Warren. Arr. So I was 19 years old.
Okay.
I was either 19 or 20. I want to say I was actually 20. And at the time I was dating this girl. And we were dating for quite a few months at this point. And this is around Halloween time. And we dressed up that year as like 80s glam. So I dressed up like this Nikki Sixx type of looking thing where I had this big black hair. I had the makeup, I had the lipstick, I had a fishnet shirt, black leather jacket, leather pants, the boots. I looked crazy as hell.
Your typical Tuesday outfit.
Yeah, exactly. Just like another whatever, yeah. And she dressed like kind of Madonna's 80s. She had the fishnet thing. She had her hair all day. It was fun. It was awesome. It was really cool. And we had plans to go out. This is Halloween night. And we had plans to go out. What was it? It was McMenemy's. There's this bar that I think is closed now. It was right off of like an interstate or whatever. And it was called McMenemy's. We had plans to go there. Now, my girlfriend at the time, I'm 20. She is 21 or 22. And she has these two friends that were 25. And so I'm driving. We are planning on going to the bar. We get to the bar. It's just me and the girlfriend at the time at the bar. She knows a couple of people there. I know a couple of people there. I'm underage. I shouldn't be there. So we're at McMenemy's. She's getting text messages from her two friends saying they're too drunk to drive. They can't make it out. And she goes, can you go pick them up? I know you really, you can drive or whatever like that. And I don't think I was that too deep into the night. Okay. And I go, sure, I'll go pick them up. So I zip all the way across town. I go down. I snatch them up. I pick them up. We're in the truck. We're in that blue truck that used to be my mom's. It was my car at the point.
Okay.
And so we're driving down the road, and I get pulled over. And I mean, they're dressed to the 9s and the 10s of their Halloween costume. I don't remember what they were, but imagine me looking like Nikki Sixx. And he goes, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "You were going 40. The speed limit is 35. Now, again, it's Halloween night. I know cops pull people over for anything they can think of. It's a dangerous night." And I go, "All right." And he goes, "Have you had anything to drink?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Have they?" And I go, "Yeah, that's why I'm driving." And he goes, "Okay." He goes, "I need to see your ID. I need to see their IDs." He takes our IDs, goes back to the car. As you know, that takes a couple minutes to run everything. He comes back and he goes, "Mr. O'Grady, step out of the car." Oh. And my heart dropped. They're looking at me like, "Do you have any answers?" I'm like, "I'm going to sell you out. You're going to jail. I'm not going to jail." It's kind of cold out, and he pulls me into the car, into the cruiser. I sit in the front seat, and he goes, "All right, Mr. O'Grady, I'm going to do the field sobriety test with you right now." And he goes, "I want you to follow my pen with your eyes, not with your head. Okay, and now I want you to touch the top of the pen." Now, under normal circumstances, you're probably nervous. Number one, I'm nervous, and I have a little bit of booze in my system.
Right.
And also, you shouldn't drink and drive, ever. And I go, "Okay. Yeah. Slam dunk, I got it. Yay, I did it. Okay." And he goes, "All right, you seem fine." And he goes, "Now listen, I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. O'Grady. Your car reeks of booze. Not a good look. But those girls are 25, and you're only 20. I can only assume you're the designated driver." And like he said it in a way like, "Yes. You with me?" And I go, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "All right. Have a good night. Drive safe." And I go, "Okay." I'm opening the door. I'm getting out of the car. He goes, "Say hi to your dad for me." I get in the car. I drive to McMenemy's. I pull up. I'm like, my heart went from beating a million miles an hour to slowing down. We get out of the car. We walk into the bar. I'm walking. And like Moses in the sea, everybody parted ways. And in the distance, my dad is right there looking dead at me. And he was like the Blues Brothers. That was his costume with his girlfriend at the time or whatever. And he just walked straight to me. And I'm like, "Ah!" Like, I'm going to die. And I'm like, "What the fuck is..." And he just looks at me and goes, "So I heard Horowitz pulled you over just now."
What was that, like 0.5 seconds?
Yeah. In a matter of like 5 to 10 minutes, this guy called my dad or texted me, like, "I just pulled your son over." And I was like, "Oh my," and thank God I wasn't in trouble or anything.
Right.
He wasn't mad, but he's just like, "You better," he was just like, oh, it was ridiculous. So I just remember that was a very scary but funny thing that happened.
And that was the time frame, in that time frame of hanging out with you and being part of your family. So like, I really couldn't do anything wrong because I had all of your family and the cops knowing me. I had my grandpa Bud, who knows everybody on God's green earth in Northeast Ohio. Yeah. I have my mother, who had her little spies around here and there. Because like, I would go and hang out with you, because like most of my friends were in the band. So I would go to the football games. I hated the football games. I hated the high school. I hated all of it. But that's where my friends were. So I'd go and watch the band bullshit and sit in the goddamn cold by myself. And I would be hanging out with some people. And my mom would come like the next morning, because we would get done there. And then you and I would go and, go do our thing the rest of the night, go hang out with some people or whatever. And my mom would go, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah said that you were here. I'm like, yes, blah, blah, blah said I was there because I was supposed to be there. I know your eyes are everywhere and you can smell shit from 10 miles away. I'm not around. Yeah. So I could not do anything wrong. It's just because everybody would know.
Yeah, but it's one of those things too where either one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to let you slide or they're going to make an example out of you.
Mine would be the example out of me. Yours is when you got the slide.
Right. Oh, no, not even. What I also do is my brother is, because my brother's a cop in Boardman now, and there's been times where they've had some issues with political people's kids, and they try to sweep things under the rug. Not that they try, but they're like, "Can we?" And they go, "It's too late. People know about it," and they throw down the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, just because you're a judge's son, you can do this. We're going to be on the newspaper. So there's also that aspect too. It's not like that they're trying to help, you do illegal or reckless things. It's almost like they're like, no, it can be bad. But I mean, for me, I never did anything that was anyway, let's get back to
yours was never that crazy. No. Just, compared to me.
Yeah.
So the first band that I remember is Mike with Mike Jones. And it was just you playing drums, I think. Or no, was he playing drums?
No, he was playing guitar. I was playing drums. We called it MIKE. We had to play our first show for a party that my parents threw.
At your house, right?
Huh?
At the house, right?
At the house, yeah.
Yep, I remember that one.
Party, and we played nothing but AC/DC songs. That's why it was MI Lightning Bolt KE.
Yep.
And we were both Mikes, and so we were Mike. And I think I sang all the songs terribly and played drums, and we were probably terrible, but we did it anyway.
Yeah, that's the first I remember. And then after that, you created the first official band, which was Double Cherry Bar.
Yes.
And actually, Double Cherry Bar was the first time I messed with logos.
Was it really?
So, yeah, kind of mixing in the two, like our two histories is like, that's kind of when I started playing with logos. I wish somebody would have gone, hey, you can go and make a business out of this or go do work with
it.
Yeah. I want to say, I'll have to try to find them. I'm pretty sure I have that sketchbook still.
Oh,
hold on.
That would be so cool to see.
I wonder.
Wait, is this a bit? Are you doing a bit where you're like, I wonder if I have it?
No, I'm thinking.
And you pull it right up.
Hold on.
Yeah, you know what's
I have all my shit sitting around randomly, and I kind of remember where stuff is afterwards.
That would be so cool. Yeah, that was the first band.
This might not be. Oh, what? 09.
That was named after a slot machine we had in the basement.
Yes, I remember that.
Band name. I always got so jealous of bands in Ohio or bands that we grew up with that had really cool band names. I hated our band names. I never liked them. But you're like, whatever, I'll play guitar. Somebody else names it, and people go,
right.
But you know what's weird, though? Nowadays, it's like people go, I don't like that band name. And I'm like, well, you know what? I guess it just goes to show you can call your band Imagine Dragons, and people will accept you. Because that is the dumbest band name that has ever been invented in band names. Imagine Dragons. It's like a sentence. It's like they're telling me what to do. Like, imagine them. Just close your eyes. There they are. That's anyway, but
I'll have to. I may have one more spot to look because I haven't cleaned up my my personal page in the longest time of photos.
Yeah,
but
what was my favorite memory of Double Cherry Bar was Michael Hicks, our bass player, was in a multimedia class, and Elliot Acevedo would make fun of him and make graphics in that class and call the band Double Cherry Dingleberry. And it was the funniest thing ever. And what made it funnier was that he was in my band. He would get so mad about it, and I would be cracking up. Because you have to laugh. That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you get mad at it, they're going to keep doing it, but still, it's kind of funny.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, but yeah.
So who was all in that band? Because I remember Mike Hicks. Was it Skylar?
Skylar, Michael Hicks, me, and my cousin Mitchell Lowry.
Yes. I don't remember him a ton. I probably wouldn't remember to see him.
That kid, the way we grew up, he was another example of Mom and Aunt Kel. I love you guys. You're awesome. But when we were kids, I definitely probably was a bad influence. Aunt Kelly threw the hammer down and wouldn't let him be in the band. And Mitchell was always wishy-washy, like, I can't be in the band. Like, I'm focusing on sports. I'm like, whatever. Like, we're like 12 years old, and I'm like, you quit the band, man. We're going to be on Behind the Music one day, and we're going to talk about this. But, yeah, and then we quit that, and Mike Hicks and I still did a band where he got his friend Matt Proach to be the drummer, and then Corey Svoboda to be the singer, and then that's when we came up with Phoenix.
I remember that one.
And we learned that there was a band called Phoenix, and I was like, shit, because MySpace at the time, you could look up any band name that you're like, oh, that's a good band name, and then it's like, crap, it's a band already. Somebody always beats you to the punch.
Yeah.
And then eventually it became Valletta, which I was like, that's such
I forgot about Valletta.
That's such a terrible band.
I have that album. Mike Hicks sent it to me years ago.
There you go.
Because there's one song, and I don't remember it anymore. I remember because you guys would sit around and you would be writing songs and stuff. And this is when I think it was still Double Cherry Bar. And you guys we were talking stories. We were kind of just, because you never knew what we were getting into. Sometimes it would lead into writing songs. Sometimes you guys are just playing around. But we're sitting there, and it was when we should just call this episode Skylar because I keep talking about him. But it was when he was there.
I don't want to give that guy any credit or anything. I have so many terrible memories with that dude, and I'll have to tell you another one later. Anyway, but it's okay. Go ahead.
So we were talking about old girlfriends, and I said something because I said something about my old girlfriend being locked up like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
And Skylar wanted to write that into a song. So I've always remembered that, and I wanted that song because I thought you guys had that one recorded.
I remember that expression, and I never forget it. Anytime if I hear something along that lines, I think of you, and I think about that expression. That's really, 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 really funny. And everything. Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right.
I think that's why I ended up having a daughter, because life needed to be like, let's balance this out. Because the second you have a daughter, and I went out, and I immediately after she was born, I was going out and I was gigging around LA, and I play at this one club on the regular. I'm a fill-in for one of the two main guitar players. And you go there, and it's a club like you would expect it to be, where it's the lights are down and everybody's dressed to the nine, and girls are bottle service and they are barely wearing anything. And I remember the change that happened to me when I first showed up again, seeing women dressed on a night out. I'm like, you have a father somewhere. Put some clothes on. Somebody get her some pants, a sweater, a jacket, and some cover her. It really changes you. And I don't think I was ever too bad with women. I don't think I was, but now I've really been, you know what I mean? It kind of changes you a little bit. I think that's why I ended up having, plus also I didn't want to have a boy and have him be like, I'm tougher than you. I'm going to beat you up. I wanted a girl to be like, Daddy, can you buy me this princess castle? And I'll be like, yes.
Oh man.
Anyway.
So some of the fun things with your bands I remember is.
Do you remember the band Smash Babies?
Smash Babies. Mm-mm.
They were like a punk rock. I love that band name. I thought it was the greatest band name ever. Smash Babies. Anyway, sorry guys. I thought about it.
So we're so I remember doing, I think once or twice you played shows at the Champion Roller Rink.
Yep.
I remember those. I was being the roadie for those ones. That was fun. There was a couple of party ones, either in your backyard or we've gone to some party ones. Those were always interesting. We went to Kent State once. I went along with you guys, and you played somewhere in Kent State at some bar or something. That was an interesting one. I can't remember. I think that might have been towards the Phoenix area.
No, that had to have been like Valletta with Corey.
Yeah.
Because I think he was up at Kent State University at the time and he had connections. That's Leon's Bar. I've played at Leon's Bar, but I don't think we ever did. Did we?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, dude.
Such a better memory than I do.
This is one of those.
I remember.
This is one of those really bad ones. You probably blocked this one out. So somehow you guys got into Leon's Bar. I think this was Phoenix Valletta area.
Should have called the band that.
I think it might have been Phoenix still, because I remember the shirts.
We had shirts and we had to change the name.
My mom actually came along, and we were all sitting there, and I can't remember if that's when. Oh, that's when Kayla and I started dating, so she came along too.
All right.
So we're sitting there, and you guys still didn't have a ton of songs. So you were supposed to play like a really long set. And after like the first hour, I think you started repeating songs. It was so uncomfortable. We're just sitting. And my mom, or I think my mom was like,
the same
didn't
song?
We hear this already? I go, yeah, they only have so many. Oh my God. But it was good, and everybody was pretty cool with it. And we had, lots of people came out, and I think my mom even got some people to come out. Oh yeah, we heard Paradise City 3 times, according to my wife.
Paradise City?
Yeah. You guys did some covers. You had a good few
that song at that time, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's interesting. No, because man, it's so weird. I don't remember any of this. You know what it is too? It's like, it's almost like your brain is like this hard drive of memory, like a computer. And over the years of how long I've been
Your
doing,
brother is watching, by the way.
whose brother?
Your brother, Joseph O'Grady, just popped in.
Joe?
Yep.
Hey, Joe. What's
Hi,
up?
Joe. How are you?
Oh, God. It's going to go off the rails. No, but I think it's because I've had to learn so much stuff over the last few years, so much songs, materials, do this, do that I start to forget. Like, I have a weird short-term memory where, like, I learn a song. I can learn a whole set the night before, like 20, 30 songs. Next week, I forget all of them. I don't remember a damn thing. You know what I mean? It's a very weird thing. And then, especially from the past, I don't have I have some that I remember, but like a lot of this stuff, when I don't know what it is. I think because when you go on stage and you go to play, it's a very intimidating thing, and it's a very weird thing that you're using all your faculties at that exact moment. Your anxiety's up, your adrenaline is up. So when it comes to that experience, like you watching us and helping out with the shows, and watching us at bars and first couple of shows, you remember that all very well. I don't, because you're so nervous and worked up, and by the time it's over, you're like, what the hell happened? You're like, you go into like autopilot mode and everything. So yeah. Enjoying the show before work. All right.
Awesome, Joe. It's good to see you, man. I appreciate you popping in and seeing what we're up to. I'm sure this is kind of weird for him because he's known us, when we were little ones.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've known, I've known Joe his whole life, or he's known me his whole life. I've known him most of the time.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. So wait, you were asking, you wanted to get back on like with music and like.
Yeah. So when did you? Now I know probably there's many of reasons to leave Ohio because it's Ohio, especially our area. So what made you finally go out to LA? What was the thing that made it happen?
If I'm being completely honest, it was a breakup.
Okay. All right.
That was the fire I think I needed, because I was working at Walmart at the time. Woo! In Liberty, Ohio.
Oh God, you had to drive.
Yeah, a little bit. I was working there. The year before, I met Dave Grohl because my dad changed the name of one of our streets in Warren, Ohio to David Grohl Alley. Got to meet Dave Grohl. He was the first famous person I'd ever met. And meeting him, I couldn't have been any luckier because he was such a nice guy. And I'm sure I was a huge dork, which I still am, but so welcoming and inviting that at that time, I remember being like, I know who the Foo Fighters are. I know Nirvana. I obviously know who Dave Grohl is, but I wasn't like a huge fan. I just knew who he was. I mean, everybody knows who he is. And when I met him, that was like another aha moment. I met a famous rock star who couldn't have been nicer. Took my demo CD, which he probably chucked out the window after he left, but he did.
I don't see him doing that. He seems
cool. He probably but he was very, very nice, and he had such an impression on me. And I remember dating this girl, playing in bands. I was playing in a cover band at the time, just to play music for the sake of music. And we broke up, I think it just kicked into me where I was like, holy blast from the past, Nelson Craig.
Holy shit. It's like a Ohio get together in here. What's up, Nelson? Good to see you, sir.
And I thought about what I wanted out of life. And I was like, you know what? And again, goes back to when we were kids. I was a little bit of a risk taker, and I wanted to take that chance and go, you know what? I want to go to Los Angeles. I want to give this a shot. If I'm going to do it, probably now is the best time to do it. And I was 20, and it was like January, February. And I remember setting it up, going to be like, I'm going to go to Musicians Institute. Here's another thing about me being in trouble was when I was in high school, I remember getting in trouble in band all the time still with Mrs. Moore and all that stuff. And every now and again, I butted heads with my drum instructor, Tony Fertiber, and karma's a bitch. Because I'm a teacher now for kids, and some of them just give me the ring around where I want to. and I go, Michael, don't get that mad because you deserve this. You know you do. You do. Because some parents are like, I'm sorry, he's such a, I don't know what to say. And I'm like, I get it. I was the same way.
Yeah.
I deserve this kid in my life to give me, Anyway, and I remember getting in trouble with band because I wasn't like a normal band kid who was like, like one time at band, I was like this. I wanted to play rock and roll and worship the devil and drink.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Tony saying, you should check out MI. You would fit in with that. And I was like, what's that? And he's like, it's all rock and roll, man. And I was like, oh. So by the time I was 20, break up with this girl and go, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm moving out there. I'm going for it. I'm going to see what it's like. I'm going to try to cut my teeth and see if I can make something of this. And I just wanted that, because I think also, too, there were so many people that we knew and that I knew playing music in Ohio was just a fun thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody has this mentality that I absolutely can't stand. I'm going on record saying this. Get rid of the slogan, stuck in Ohio. I hate it more than life itself because what it does is drill into our minds of we're stuck in Ohio. Nothing good ever happens. Our team sucks. The weather sucks. No kidding. I know it sucks. But everybody has that mentality of why would anything good ever happen for me? Why would I try to move to New York? Or moved to Los Angeles. And for me, it was just, I couldn't settle for that satisfaction.
Oh, yeah.
This is as good as it gets. I'm like, I'm going to take that shot. And I remember, Joe, if you're still here, Tim, is that your dad?
That is
Tim?
my dad. My dad says hi.
All right.
Yeah, I will actually be seeing him in a couple of weeks. We're doing a big family vacation together. So
that's awesome.
My dad says hi. I actually, because I talked to him on the phone like a few days ago, and I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, I'm bringing back the show. I'm gonna have O'Grady on as the first guest when I come back. He goes, you're still talking to O'Grady? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how's he doing? Asking about you. He totally remembers you and everything. So he's like,
awesome. Hi,
yeah.
Tim. It's so good to see. I was just talking to Josh. Oh, by the way, you want to know something really cool?
What's that?
This is your 4th episode. This is my 4th episode.
Oh, look at that! It was totally planned out.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. I forget because Joe, if you're still on there, my older brother Joe, gave me a very good sign off. And when I left for California, I want to say it was in a card, or he wrote it down as a parting gift, and something of a little note he said, and it was my favorite thing that anybody's ever said to me as advice. He goes, remember, because I went to MI, which is like a music school college thing. He goes, remember, it's just college. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean you're a fuck up. But it is a big deal, so don't fuck it up.
And that is perfectly your brother.
I thought that was great. Sorry, I don't mean to swear, but that's what he said.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't care. I try to keep it at least somewhat minimum, but I don't care.
I watched one of my podcasts when I was editing. I think it was episode 2, and I was like, ooh, I got to dial this back. When I don't mind swearing, but when you talk to somebody who swears constantly every 5 words, you're like,
right. I
can't talk to you anymore. And it's very it almost makes you feel a little bit more pompous than them. Like, I am not like you, Neon.
So we're already in an hour and a half. I almost feel like I have to do another episode with you because we still haven't even talked about getting to LA, the North of 9 stuff.
I'll keep going.
We still got to do your show.
What's that? Say again?
We still got to do your show. So I'm almost thinking about making this episode like a 2-parter. So we'll stop here. We'll do another episode later in June where we get into the LA stuff and everything like that.
Right.
And then we'll do your show for the next hour, however you want to go.
Yeah, let's do the next hour. Wait, real quick. Nelson's got if anyone knows either is you, then they shouldn't be surprised if you swear. That's true. That's a really good point.
Very true. But before we go, I have to show 2 more pictures because we're still doing some past stuff. So I don't know how I made this happen. I don't know how I accomplished this. But for about a week or 2, I got Michael O'Grady to be in the Boy Scouts of America. I don't know. I think I paid him or something. I have no idea. But here is picture 1 of O'Grady.
No.
Look at him.
That's so rad.
Look at him. And that is actually my Grandpa Bud giving you your patch or something to that nature.
Oh my God, that's so
So
awesome.
there's that one. And then here, this is the one that I talked about. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, so there. When Amelia asks, she missed out on her opportunity for this picture.
Oh
This is O'Grady and I in Boy Scouts. We just got our berets because we were doing something.
Oh my God.
We were going on some trip or something, and for some reason we thought it was brilliant to get berets.
Years, it's like you took the front of a car and opened the driver and passenger side doors.
I think we saw another troop have berets, and they looked really cool. And then we got our berets, and they looked freaking terrible.
You know what's funny? I had a blast with that, but I didn't have the discipline to stay in it for that long. I really didn't. But everybody was great there and everything. And here's a couple of things that I remember. I remember being old, camping.
Yeah.
I remember your grandfather. You had to beat him going to sleep.
Yes.
Otherwise, he snored.
Yep.
Like a dump truck driving with nitroglycerin. Like, so loud you couldn't sleep. I remember you and I, this is another thing that you don't give yourself enough credit for. Making everybody laugh. One particular
Oh my God, yes. I remember
like George Carlin quoting his, we almost had the entire stand-up routine down. And we passed it off as it was our own.
Yeah. Like I remember sitting around, we were at, I don't even remember what camp thing we were at.
I remember some stuff.
Yeah, we were sitting around, we were at a picnic table, and O'Grady and I are right next to each other, and the entire troop is surrounding us. And we are just doing all this George Carlin stuff and just going word for word.
Like passing it off like a story. Yeah, I remember doing that. Yeah. And I remember that taught me a very valuable, important lesson. The Boy Scouts of America was a couple of things. I have a bed, and I like sleeping in it as opposed to taught me that. Yeah. And I remember it was fun. You got to do things like that when you're a kid. If you can get involved with something like that, and you do that and everything.
I love it. It got me out of my shell some more, getting into the leadership position.
You were like a rock star. That was the thing. You like had this thing of like high school and middle school where you were like, oh, people. But then in Boy Scouts, people were like, that's Josh Bauer. Get his autograph. I heard he saved a bald eagle once. With baby. He did that. No, really? That's what that patch means? Yes.
Yeah, that's the saving baby eagle patch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, Boy Scouts was a lot of fun. I got to try to get a couple of my Scout friends and see if they would do a show with me with this shit, because that would be fun.
Who was that one kid? I remember his name. Trevor?
Trent. Yes, Trent. And his brother Wes.
And they were so funny. They were funny. Yep. That's where I think I got a lot of that from, too, because they were just a riot. They were so damn funny.
When we could just be us and be around the campfire or be away from the adults and a lot of the adults just let us do our thing most of the time. You know, when we were up in our uniforms and we had to be really respectful and everything. But when we were just out in camps and oh my God, the shit we would talk about and the stories and just the utter chaos that we could do. I got to try to get in touch because that would be a really fun episode, because the Boy Scouts has had a very rough go at it for the past little while.
Right.
With bullshits and suing and stuff. And I know some bad things went down in Boy Scouts. I get it. But I'm a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout. I'm damn proud of it. And
what was the bad stuff that went down? What do you mean?
Oh, people touching people and dirty stuff.
Like the same thing with the Catholic Church?
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing that really always bothered me. When I heard about all that stuff, it gave me a weird inferiority complex, because I was like, no one ever tried to make a pass at me. What the hell?
You didn't have that long hair back then. I mean, look at it. We can't, you needed the long hair.
Everybody in the news is getting, I mean, it's a horrible thing. I hate to make a joke about it, but everything.
But we're terrible people, so we're okay.
Terrible people. That's what it is. Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not good looking enough for the popular kids. All the other, anyway.
but yeah, I think I may try to reach out to some people and see if they would do a Boy Scout one, because I'd love to shed some good stuff. I mean, some of it's going to be terrible what we talk about, but it built character, and we had a blast, and I love the Boy Scouts.
Who was the, real quick, sorry, and I know we got to wrap up this segment, but who was the really serious young girl and her mother? They were so serious.
Crystal was the girl. I actually dated her for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah.
I think we were dating when you came and started hanging in the Scouts. Yeah,
but I remember
Crystal and Sandy, I believe.
Yeah, her mom scared the hell out of me because she was so serious.
Yeah, sadly, it's kind of ending on a sad note. Sadly, her mom had a lot of troubles after we all got older. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
but
no, she was an awesome lady, but she was.
I didn't have any.
Did not F around.
I just remember, like, okay, don't mess around.
Oh yeah, she was terrifying. Like there were certain people that were cool. You could kind of mess with, poke around a little bit, but Sandy, oh no, she'd rip you apart. Like, what in the hell are you doing? I don't know. I was just standing here.
It's like having a girlfriend. They're like, you know what you did, and I'm like, the worst thing you can ever say is I don't know.
Yeah.
And I say I don't know all the time.
So before I do my plugs, please plug your podcast. We're going to talk about your podcast more in the next episode. I'm going to have you back very soon because we could do a whole nother episode on just your music stuff in LA. Yeah. So please plug your podcast so people can check it out.
Yes. So everybody, if you can, get a chance to go on YouTube and type in Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. I just got 3 episodes up right now. This 4th one will be up soon. And I got some more episodes coming up. And you can, subscribe, hit the like buttons, drop some comments, because I'm just kind of getting started. Because one of the reasons why hey, Holly's here.
Hi, Monster.
We can't call this. We got too much ground to cover. This is ridiculous.
I have to pee. I have to pee. I have to get water.
There's no, dude, no one's in charge of you. No one's in charge of me. We do whatever we want. It's no rules. It's anarchy. That's what I love about doing this. But I wanted to do this because of all the COVID-19 stuff, because nothing's going on. Everything has been changed. Our entertainment business is totally turned upside down.
Oh, yeah.
In a couple of weeks, I'm going to have a buddy of mine come on. Again, I called it Michael O'Grady and the Creatives, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a lot of guests come on who are not only musicians, but they're involved with the entertainment business. Whether it be an actor, a writer, an agent. My buddy Matt Coatsworth, who's an agent at UTA, who deals with actors, cinematographers, directors. He works in the business. Like when you watch Entourage, how he's like a manager, but actually, I'm sorry, Ari, because Ari is an agent. That's how my buddy Matt is. And everybody's been wanting to come on and talk about their history and how they got started in LA and how we're all super affected by this, to where it's like, dude, how are they going to make the next movie? How are they going to do the next couple of shows? Because a lot of us are out of work.
Right.
And it's kind of also like, I think you brought it up to me about learning about like auditioning for North of Nine, meeting Randy Jackson, stories about meeting famous people who are absolute jerks. And people you go, man, you're like, screw that guy. I don't like that guy. But then you meet him, you're like, he's the salt of the earth, sweetest person. So we have a lot of stories like that. So if you guys get a chance, check out the podcast. Let me know what you think of it. It's on Podbean right now, by the way, just audio.
Okay.
And I think I just got an email that I'm eligible for Apple Music. I can start doing that soon.
There you go.
And I'm going to just keep plugging away at it. And I appreciate you having me on here.
Of course, man.
It's so funny that you and I are doing something so similar now.
Right.
That I think we're kind of perfect for. Like, we're different enough, but we're similar enough to where this kind of, because again, we grew up talking to people and almost interviewing and shooting the shit, where again, we're an hour 40 into this. We could keep going.
Oh yeah. And we are going to keep going because we have your show to do.
Yeah.
So please nobody go anywhere. We're going to keep this stream live. And I'm going to do my plugs real quick and then I'll explain it. So if you are watching this, you love this show, follow me on any social media, JBauerart, all one word. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you want to catch it, if you missed any part of the show and want to catch it again, you can find it on YouTube. It'll be at the Hanging with Web Show YouTube channel, HWWS Web TV, and you can see it on there and catch it anytime. You can catch the old episodes, all 3, my whole whopping 3 episodes before will be on there. And I am working on trying to figure out, I'm going to get a few more episodes in, and then I'm going to figure out how to make this an actual podcast, so I can be up on all the fancy things too. And then if you want to get any of the artwork, any of my paintings, anything like that, head over to jbauerartshop.com.
Talk about that real quick. You did the artwork for my show, and it's so rad.
I did. You guys will be able to see the artwork for his show in just a little bit. I'm actually going to change the logo that's up that way to Michael O'Grady and the Creatives podcast. We'll probably talk about that on his show. So